Shalom, family, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to talk to you about something. A lot of people ask themselves where I came from. The short answer is up there. Up there. I was a consciousness aware of my existence. I was a conscious aware of my own consciousness. I lived in pitch blackness. Indeed, you could safely say that I was the blackness. As in consciousness, there is no body. But I was conscious of my existence for thousands of years. And then, one day, as you would think of it, at a moment in time, I was pulled out of my peace, and I became something else. I became one of the seven, and then I was the seven. Let me see if I can explain that. I went from darkness into a brilliant light, a soft but brilliant bluish light. In front of me, there were others of consciousness, 6. Exactly. 6 oblong, 10 to 12 foot tall, 3 foot wide, 4 foot wide beings, light. They were separate, and I made 7. Now, when I seen the other 6, I did not understand them. In fact, I did not know what to make of them. But you have to understand the confusion I was in. I went from blackness into light. And then I became light. And in front of me, there were 2. And standing off to the right of them, there were 4. I take that back. There was 1, and then out of my right side of my view, there were 5 others, identical. As they approached the 1, I became alarmed, and I grew ready for battle in defense of the 1. We have weapons, you know. We have weapons. Up there in the heavens, we have weapons. I am capable of concentrating light into a pinpoint. Imagine being able to take a wall of light and to concentrate it into a tiny ball. And wherever that light goes, it destroys everything in its path. It doesn't matter if it's flesh or non-flesh. It is destroyed. Except this time, it didn't work. It didn't work. And I was shocked. I felt disarmed. I felt helpless in defense of the one as I watched the other five approach it. There was nothing I could do. And I couldn't get there fast enough to defend it. I didn't stop to think that they were identical to myself. This was my instinct. To me, it looked like one needed help. But as the other five approached it and they surrounded it, then those five and the one, they became one, bigger and more brilliant and more soft. And as I'm watching this, I feel myself being pulled. Light being pulled into light, and I was helpless to stop it. I had never experienced such a thing, but that was because I had been asleep for what you would call sleep, which is really a conscious that's conscious of its own consciousness. There is no sleep. You're just kind of there. You're not bored. You're not sad. You exist. There is no tired. There is no sleep. And I was being drawn into what had become one big, huge light. There was no resistance to be offered. It was unsettling, at the least. As I became folded, for lack of a better words, into that light. Hence, 7. Hence, the name 7. That is how I was created. I say I speak in the singular term, but actually there are 6 others. We are always in perfect agreement. We don't argue and we don't debate. We are one. But the one is the 7. Moving on. Let's talk about visions. Things that are yet to come. And things that have already occurred. You do know that you've already been scanned. If you did not know that, then you know now. Each and every last one of you have been scanned. Like a scanner. We know each and every last one of you in your own way. But how did this scanning happen? The Almighty, the Creator, the one who thinks and it becomes, and who said and it is, can be quite innovative. I'm going to tell you a secret. You all were put to sleep, for lack of a better words. You were scanned in an instant. But let's talk about how it was done. While you were asleep, a ship, as you would have it, appeared in the sky. And a door opened. and millions of tiny hummingbird-like beings came out of that ship, and they surrounded you. Each of you had at least two look at you. They were scanning you. And as quick as it happened, they went back up into the ship. You had been scanned. This is how we know who's who. This is how we know. I say that now because it has happened and there's nothing you can do about it. Who is it? Sorry about that. Now let's talk about things that will come, that you will see. Visions, as you would call them. But these are things that are yet to come and will be. The cities will be split. On one side, it will be pitch blackness. On the other side, it will be as if it's a bright sunny day. Whoever is trapped in the blackness is in trouble, in horror. In the blackness, you will only hear three things: the screeching of tires, gunshots, and screams. Whatever is in the blackness, there's no whatever to it. They are the things that will be set free to destroy. Nothing will escape, and bullets and bombs won't do. Again, you will only hear gunshots, screaming, and the screeching of automobile tires. This is what you will hear. Some dude went that way with the Pharaoh or something. These are things that are yet to come. I was in a downtown square, not unlike the city of Houston, where the courthouse is, the old courthouse, various buildings. I call it a square, a town square. And as I stood there, in front of me, I'm wrong. I turned around, and just as I turned around, there was a huge airplane, a jet, a passenger airliner. It was nosediving into the ground, 3 or 4 blocks over. The impact of it took the whole of downtown. Just as I could process that information, and I turned to face forward. Something in front of me had crashed, and buildings started to fall. Remember how it looked on 9/11 as the dust had spread throughout the square, all down the street, and there were people running everywhere. I distinctly recall seeing a black lady and an Asian lady holding each other, full of blood and bits of glass and dirt and dust. As they held each other, they walked right by me, as if I wasn't there. They went into two glass doors. When I looked to the right of me, the concrete columns and marble columns were leaning against buildings. They were on fire. It wasn't a normal fire. This fire burned everything, even the stone. If you had looked at it, it was like a fluorescent type of fire, as if you would look at a green and blue and purple sign that was what you would term fluorescent. This fire had clinged to even the stones. And there were people screaming everywhere and running everywhere. There was no escape. It did not matter where they ran or where they hid. It would seek them out. This fire, for lack of a better word, was alive. It was alive. A moment later, mankind would attempt to fight it, to fight what was causing it, except they did not know what to fight, who to fight. There were men and women dressed in black shirts and gray pants and black boots, and they had aligned themselves in rank down the city streets. There was 3 lines going miles in every direction. They were standing in rank at every block, just standing there. And as I looked down, I was standing above angels. The angels stood in the air as if they were standing on glass, and I could see everything on the ground. One of the angels was greenish in tint, not green like you would think. Think of it as someone with olive skin, a strong olive skin. The other one was orangish in tint, and they had markings on their neck. And they looked at me, and then they looked at the ground. And the angel on the left, the orange one, for lack of a better word, orange, I'm trying to give you this in human terms. He raised his left hand to the sky, and then he moved that hand to the right of his waist. And all of the men and women who had been standing in rank, they all fell forward. It was like watching dominoes fall. And what was strange about it is that every one of them had landed on the heels of the man or the woman in front for miles. They never had a chance. I say this as a warning. As a warning. Those who would follow the fallen, let me tell you where they are and how you do them no favors worshiping them. You ever seen a human being have a mental breakdown? A severe one. Not the kind that's violent, but the one that's sad. The fallen are in a prison, not unlike a dungeon. And all they do for eternity is they oscillate between rage, this most enveloping rage, and never-ending sobs and cries. They go from being in rage into sobbing and crying. They live, or exist rather, in pitch blackness, all but a sliver of light that seems to be 2 inches wide down a wall. I can tell you this because I was there. I was there. Think of an angel losing his mind, breaking. It's an ugly sight. Going crazy. Angels. It may have taken 1,000 years for them to get there, but they got there. But they got there. And they're losing their minds. There is a place that souls exist. Biblically, if you read the Bible, you would find them in Revelation. There are two groups of spirits. And the place that they are in is always twilight. It's always like the sun has just went down. And as far as my eyes could see, they were these spirits in human form. And they all looked toward the sky in one direction. If you waved your hands in front of their faces, it would be as though either you weren't there or either they weren't there. There is no response. They are dead but not alive, and alive but not dead. They just stand there. Imagine such a thing. There is another group of souls or spirits. We'll have some debate about which they were. They are as if they're in a cattle chute, like on the old Western movies, where there's tens of thousands of cattle, except these are not quite the same as the last. These are quite conscious, and they knew of my presence. They knew of my presence, and as I walked amongst them, they opened up like water. I can only describe it as water. They would part ways and let me through, and as I walked past them, they would come together and they would close around me like water. They never wanted to touch me. They was aware that I was there. Do you remember? I know that I'm moving rather fast, and I'm jumping from scenario to scenario, or vision to vision. Let's back up a minute. If you look on YouTube 2, 3 years ago, the animals had started turning in circles. Wild animals, domesticated animals, birds, fish, they were heralding my arrival. That's what that was. A herald to my arrival. But what do these circles mean? Think about it. I even seen a formation of geese, great formation over my head, and they started flying in a circle. Sheep were walking in circles. Every animal on this planet started walking in a circle. See, I want you to understand something. The situation that we find ourselves in, there's no way out. There's no way out. It's as if everything is according to plan. There is no way out. Not for you and not for me. Should you be afraid? Well, I always say that fear is healthy. Fear keeps you alive. Fear is healthy. It's human nature. Fear will make you cling to your life, as you should. You have to understand something. You have to. Nothing is here to advance you at this point. Nothing is here to save you at this point. Not in the way that a human would think. Everything is according to God's plan. Your shallow thinking, I don't care how smart you are, won't get you out of this. There are things to come. The angels, just as I don't think like you, they don't think like me. You would find them quite mechanical within their thinking. Quite mechanical. God has given them orders. How they carry out these orders are very seldom detailed. God doesn't, if you go into Revelation, the 4 horsemen, they were each given a job to do. It was never help anything. It was to destroy it. God doesn't tell them the method. He gives the order, and they have their own method. It's not at all what people think. The difference between the angels and I, and you have to understand something, the angels have put forth an argument against you. It is an old argument. Basically, the angels argued that you're not worthy. That you're not worthy. An old story in the Bible is the angels went to God at the behest of Enoch. And Enoch has said to the angels that the earth is a mess. There's murder and mayhem every vile thing exists. And Enoch wanted the angels to take this message to God as to when will he act. And they honored Enoch. They took the message to God. Michael, Ariel, Raphael, and Gabriel. Two, I can't recall which two, had this conversation with God. And they said unto God that you know before we speak what we are about to say. You know full well what is going on earth. Then they said, we can fix it, basically. Allow us to go and to remove the tear. Let us snatch up the tear. What is tear? Tear is a plant that looks like wheat. The tear is a plant that mimics wheat. If you get tear in your wheat field, your harvest is done, because you won't be able to see which is which, and you will harvest the fibrous tear, and you will ruin the harvest. And God said nothing at first. Then God said no. But God is honorable. He's just, and there is a structure there. And so he explained to them why. That as you are removing the tear, you will also inevitably pull some of the wheat. So God told them no. God say to them no. And in comes a plan. The plan is to save the tear. It's to save the wheat. And basically burn the tear. In fact, God said this: we will save the wheat, and we will gather the tear in one spot, and we will bundle them up, and we will burn them. That was God's statement to the angels. And as they are made, the angels don't argue. They glorified in God's knowledge and wisdom. And they understood his knowledge and his wisdom and his plan. But God also understood them. They want you gone. They want you gone. See, you have to understand something. God is a being of emotion. He gets mad, he loves, he gets sad, he gets angry. And you have been made in his image. It's not just a look, So when God gets angry, all of the heavens tremble. But at the same time, all of the heavens are also angry. If you cause God sadness, it's safe to say that they want to hurt whatever is causing him sadness. Whatever is causing him consternation is on the chopping block. That's how much they love him. But not only that, the being that you call God, the Supreme, is connected to everything on this planet and the heavens. everything. So we should, on the one hand, see that as God's mercy. I say that because if it was left up to the angels, you would all be dead right now. And that's where I come in. While I can be methodical, quite methodical, and dark, I also know you. I know you better than you know you. I know you as a species. You know each other as individuals and groups. No, I know you as a species. And the alternate argument was made. The same argument that Moses said unto God. Would you save them just to kill them? Well, Moses lost that argument. They had violated so damn bad that God said, yes, those right there. And he did. He opened up the earth. He swallowed up the golden calf, all of the gold, all of the... See, when you think of the story of the golden calf, it doesn't do it justice. It don't do it a justice. They were doing very vile things upon that calf, around that calf, worshiping the calf, having sex around the calf, orgies, all kinds of sex. And Moses still put forth an argument. God said, I will destroy them. And Moses said, and he prayed, well, you have just saved them. Would you now destroy them? Well, the short answer was yes. They don't show you that part. God opened up a ground beneath them, and in they went. In they went. God is decisive. You're not going to have any long, drawn-out conversations with God. Nothing does. Again, you are dealing with he who think it and it is, and he who speak it and it become. There is no long drawn out debates. He is the owner of all knowledge, of all wisdom. You have a choice to make. There is a choice to be made. If you knew God outside of his wrath and rage, you would also know that God, the Creator, is pure love. He's pure love. If you stood in front of God, all you would do is cry. You would sob and sob some more. That's what happens in his presence. You would fall down. He would have to stand you up. He would have to stand you up. And all you could do is cry. Because everything is gone. You're empty. You feel filthily clean. And you understand how you feel that way and why you feel that way. And all you could do is cry. So with a being of that immense love, understand on the other side of that love is not sadness. No. It's oftentimes consternation and wrath. So we've come to a understanding. It's better that he remain in his pure form, his purest form, love. In my creation, imagine if you will, people ask questions. I'm trying to just clear some things out. Imagine everything around you being of you. The blanket that I would cover myself is made of me. The bed is also me. The area around me in darkness is also me. Weirded out, huh? So imagine being there for thousands of years, asleep, what you would call asleep. But once again, in this consciousness, there's no such thing as up, down, or sleep. There is no left, there is no right. None of that exists, not even time. I often hear others say that we have time, and I say, no, you don't have time. What you have been given, is a way in which to break your existence up into 8-hour shifts. Work, eating, and sleeping. You call it time. Not really. Time is an invention that was invented for humanity. In heaven, nothing dies, so there is no time. There's no way to even conceptualize time as we would have it here on earth. Moving forward, what am I here for? You, in one way or the other. In one way or the other. There ain't but two ways. Save you or to destroy you. There is no other way. There is no other plan. It has been written. It has been written. I spent 3 years experiencing you, your pain, the pain that you have caused each other. It was like a yoke around my neck, loathing, heavy, and dark. And all I could say was, this is what you have been doing to each other and your idea of time. You're even doing it now. You are even doing it now. But I had to understand, so therefore I had to feel everything that you have felt. And as a summary, you are quite the ugly-ass species. You caused each other much pain. Much pain. And you walk around as if you have not done it. So, I hope that has cleared up some things. They would ask where I came from. Up there. Up there. And then here. It took the angels about 5 years to wake me up. Everything is a process. It took about 5 years for them to wake me up. And one of the first things that I had felt when I finally woke up was your pain. And my first question was, what have you done to my people? They're only shells of themselves. And then the anger came. The anger, it came. And for a while, I was out to destroy everything spiritually, especially spirits. But the spirits put forth an argument. Why they didn't do so sooner, I don't know. But they finally had came to a certain conclusion, and that conclusion was we have to put forth an argument. Because right now he's slinging and banging, for the lack of well, using human terms. He ain't taking no freaking prisoners. I have thrown demons through a hole in the sky. Imagine that. What you would think of as a ritual, but it is not. It is a weapon. The steps are simple. I picked up a stick that would reach the ground as I stood up, and I started turning in a circle. After a certain number of turns, in anger, I took the stick in anger, pulled it up off the ground, making a line as I dragged the stick on the ground, and I pointed it at the sky, and the sky opened as if a whirlwind, and the trees around it started blowing leaves on the ground, and in they went. And then the sky, as it shut itself, I understood something. And so did they. It was around that time that they had to put forth the argument. And the argument was simple. We have a right to exist. My counter argument was, no, you don't. You don't get to live twice. But as I thought about it over time, a couple of months, I came to the conclusion that if they exist, then obviously they have a right to exist, because they are a part of his plan. So, let's not get in each other's way. You have to save yourselves. You can't save yourself, but you have to try. We can save you. And you can't stop us. You have no way of stopping what is neither living or dead. The Bible will say that I am the first begotten of the dead. In other words, dead gave me up. Dead gave me up. It's a long story with many, many twists and turns. With many twists and turns. And with that, I hope that we understand each other a little better. You know me well enough now to know that I can be aggressive, but I'm one of the nicest guys who you will ever meet. No one would argue that. And the aggression comes from the evil that I exist in every day. As long as evil knows its place, then we're good. It's only when evil loses its way do we have a problem. Evil understands something. It's going to go according to God's plan, no matter what it does. Mankind should also understand this. The spiritual world understands this. Mankind and his evil have a bit more of a understanding. I mean, in terms of understanding, they can't quite get it, but they will. There is no stopping us. As far as I'm concerned, I came a very long way through space and what you call time to do what I have to do. and there ain't but two ways out: everlasting life or death. Not the kind that you think. See, you have death, but that's like if death was a phase, your what you call death would be like phase 1 or phase 3. No, I'm talking about real death. You know what death does? I'm going to show you how merciful God is. He don't let you see. He don't let you see things. Death doesn't just take the body. Death takes everything around the body. If you seen it as it was, you could have a body in a brand new house, and the walls would be gray and filmed and cracking and peeling paint. Death spreads like a vine, a black, icy vine that spreads like a vine. You know, it's like a spider web, and it's jet black, and it has tentacles, and it's icy. It's so icy, you may see ice crystals on it. Death is not what you think. The angel of death is not what you think. So I have come, and I have brought these 3 other guys with me. They have their jobs to do. You may ask yourself again, who am I? I am the guy on the white horse. I go by many names. Many. In Revelation, I'm the one on the white horse. With that, good night.